Welcome back to the Avenue. If you're new or if you've been here before, thank you for coming in. It's a delight to have you in my space once again. And today we're going to talk about what if you had $1,000 dropped in your lap. Somehow, some way you received $1,000. What would you do with it? Well, it depends on if you're just starting out on your financial journey or if you're into it for a little bit. But we're going to discuss that. What to do with $1,000 in today's environment. Stay tuned. Now we know $1,000 is not a lot of money in today's times, but $1,000 is still $1,000 more than you had. So it's a great thing to maybe plan for $1,000. I personally plan for, if I were to get $10,000 extra, what would I do with it? If I were to get $50,000, what would I do with it? If I were to get $100,000, what would I do with that? Then I make a plan. I sit down and I actually plan all this out, you all. I make a plan for what does it take to pay off everything that I want to pay off and maybe buy some land or buy some stuff. What would that number be? So I sit down and I plan this all out, because if for some reason I get some type of windfall, I'll know exactly what to do with it, and I just won't go running through money or blowing money. But if you had $1,000, and let's say that you're not on your financial journey, you don't have an emergency fund, you don't have a budget, you don't have anything but that $1,000, and you're just starting out, welcome to your financial journey. And if you had that $1,000, the first thing I would tell you to do is to stick it in an emergency fund. Now, an emergency fund is a beginning ground that if something were to happen, you could have money set aside. If some kind of emergency came up, car repair or something that you didn't expect came up, you would have money set aside that you could use, and you would have to pull out the credit card and use that as your emergency fund or your emergency account. That would be the first thing that I would look at if you're fresh starting out, don't have a budget, don't have anything, if you have bills and don't have a way of paying down the bills. All of that. If you're just starting, I would take that first $1,000 and put it in an emergency fund, because when things happen, you all, as high as things are with inflation today, you're going to need some extra money sitting somewhere. And I'm not saying this is trip money or savings money somewhere. This is for emergencies. If you had that $1,000, extra $1,000 just drop in your lap, or somebody, a nice, rich aunt gave it to you, you would have that $1,000. I would say put it in an emergency fund right away. If you had your emergency fund already established, and when I say an emergency fund established or partially established, and when I say that, I mean at least to begin with, 1 month of expenses that you would have already in an account, a high bearing interest rate account somewhere. If you had that, you've started your emergency fund, and you're probably moving toward paying off your debt. So the next thing I would do, if you already had that established, is take that $1,000 and start looking at what debt you had. If you had a debt that was $500, $999, anything up under $1,000, I would pay on that debt and just get it out the way. That way, whatever monthly payments you were making on that particular debt is wiped out, and you can use that money for your other debt. If you don't have a debt that's low, I would look over what I had as far as what I was in debt with. Since I can't pay anything off with $1,000, I would look at the highest interest rate on what I had there. And if it was something that was reasonable that I was going to probably pay off in the next, I'd say 1 to 2 years, I would go ahead and put that money toward the highest interest rate debt that I had out there, and then continue paying on the other debt that I had so I could get it paid down. So what I'm saying, if you have a debt that's $1,000 or up under, I would move that $1,000 toward paying that off totally, get it from up under it. If you had something close to $1,000, let's say if it was $1,500, I'd still pay it off and then work on paying that extra $500. But if everything was in the $3,000, $4,000 range, and I would look kind of close, I would look at what is the highest interest rate on any of those, and I would pay that one down. That would make that particular payment or the amount that you owe on that drop down $1,000, right? And it's with the highest interest rate, it just makes sense start paying on that one because it would be the lowest one at that point in time. So it all makes sense if you follow the direction I'm trying to go in. But that would be something else that I would do with that $1,000 if I had it and I had my emergency fund of 1 month expenses at least already established. Next up, if I had my emergency fund established and if I was already paying down on my debt, had those up under control. And when I say emergency fund established, this is when I'm saying having either 3 to 6 months of your emergency fund. So you're stable, you have your foundation as far as your finances go. You have your emergency fund established and you're paying your debt down. You're having that, it's going good. You're seeing success in that. You have some bills paid off, but you have this $1,000 dropped in your lap. What I would say to do then, because you have a method and you're moving smoothly through that method, I would say put that money in a savings account and start saving towards something. It may be a house, it may be a car, it may be something of that nature. But I would start looking at what is it that I want to move to next after I get some more of this stuff up under, a little more under control. Go ahead and establish a savings account with that and put that money toward that. The next thing that I would do if I had that already established, and let's say I have my savings accounts going well and everything going good with paying down the debt, I have my emergency fund. What I do is look at some investments to see where would I want to invest that $1,000. So if I had an emergency fund, if I had my debt being paid down, and if I had my savings for whatever I'm trying to save for in the future already established, I would go ahead and look at that $1,000. Where am I going to place it as far as investments are concerned? And that would be maybe the stock market. It could be in mutual funds. It could be in index funds. It could be in bonds. It could be in any of these things. But it would be somewhere that I would feel good about putting it so that I could make more money. Now, if you're going to go into individual stocks, I would say research. Do your research because there's a risk to everything, you all. And if you buy a stock with that $1,000 and put it all in one stock, and then all of a sudden the stock goes down, you're going to think, oh, I just lost $100. I just lost $200. You haven't really lost it until you pull it out because there's a chance that that stock may go back up. I would not gamble $1,000 on just one single stock. I would put it in an index fund. I would put it in some type of fund where you would have a good chance of it going up. And if it were to fall, it wouldn't fall to a rock bottom. It would kind of maybe stagger a little and come back up because you'd have more than just one stock in that index fund. You'd have a myriad of stocks in that index fund. So that's a safer way of looking at it. But test your risk as far as investments. How risky do you want to be? But this $1,000 is still just $1,000, but you want to do something with this money. And notice I am not bringing up ever spending it on something. All of this is investing it or paying something down that you've already spent money on. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a purse. I'm not telling you to go on a shopping spree. I'm not telling you to go out for a big dinner and invite all your friends and family over. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making good financial decisions with this $1,000. More to come. Now, I'm not personally going to give you $1,000. I'm just giving you ideas on what to do with the $1,000. But I do want to personally ask you to hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on the latest information that I'm bringing to you as I bring it to you. And also share this one out. You may have a friend that's going to get $1,000 of an income tax refund, $1,000 of someone leaving some money to them. Maybe a friend just wants to gift you $1,000, but it's $1,000 that you didn't have. They could use this video to help them make a good decision with what to do with that $1,000. And it's a good thing, you all, to go ahead, like I said, plan this out before you get the money, because once you get it, you're not going to think about this video. You're not going to think about emergency fund. You're not going to think about any of that. But if you already have it written down and plan exactly what you're going to do, you won't make the big mistake with getting $1,000 and going on a shopping spree. Let's continue. If everything is solid financially and there's something that maybe you want to do in the future, something that will enhance your skills that could potentially make you more money, $1,000 would be a good place to invest in yourself. It may be a course that you want to take. It may be something else that you want to do, a skill that you want to just develop more of. Put that $1,000 in that and invest it in yourself, because when you invest in yourself, that's a win-win every time. Make the decision as far as what you want to do. If you want to, become a photographer, if you want to go into notary, if you want to go into the tech field, and there's some courses you can take or some certificates that you can get that can actually help you make more money. If you want to learn some type of computer program that's going to help you in the future, you want to do things like that. You may want to buy, if you're into cutting grass, say, you may want to buy a lawnmower that can help you with that business. Whatever business that you're in, maybe you want to do something to enhance your skills so that you can go and make more money. So I would look strongly at this. If all your other stuff is in order and this $1,000 falls into your lap, I would look at what I'm going to do with it next. This one you would thank me for. What you want to do with your $1,000 at this point, if everything is in line, and let's say you took the class and everything, you've gotten all your learning out of the way, you want to look at investing it in an IRA or some type of retirement fund, 401k, some type of retirement fund, because that money is put in a fund that you won't be able to get your hands on until later in life, but that's what it's for. And the more you put in there, when you get to that age that you can actually pull it out, you'll have that sitting waiting for you. None of us know how long we're going to live, but you don't want to plan it short where you're going to run out of money. That's the number one fear of retirees, is that we're going to run out of money. And a good way to not run out of money is to go ahead and start investing in these retirement vehicles. That way you can, when you do retire, you have funds that you can pull from, that you can live off of, or you can play off of, whatever you want to do as a retired person. But it's so difficult. Even when I was younger, it was difficult for me to think about the years down the road. And when I'm wanting a new car, when I'm wanting things, new clothes, I wanted to do things my other friends are doing in the 20s. That's what I wanted to do. However, I was consulted with someone and he told me what to do, and I did what he told me to do, which is start putting money in my 401k. And boy, am I glad that I did. And so what you want to look at, especially if you're in your 20s and 30s, go ahead and start investing into a retirement fund that you can use when you get on up in life, and it'll be there waiting for you, because we don't know, probably Social Security is not going to be around, to be quite honest. But don't bet on the government. I would say bet on yourself. Make the good decisions now. You have time on your side. You have compound interest on your side. And that money can grow astronomically if you put it in the right place. And even if you put some, and after 10, 15 years, you stop contributing, it will still grow and grow and grow. And you'll be happy that you did. I know I was very happy that I did. So if you get that $1,000, you want to consider putting it in some type of retirement fund for your future. There are two more things that I want you to consider with that $1,000. And the first thing is to give back to the community, give back to a charity or something like that. Now, if you have everything in line, you're doing the things that you want to do, and you have this $1,000, this extra money, you can give it away to a charity or give it away to someone in need. It won't increase your wealth, but it will increase the way you feel about yourself, because we can only have so much money to do so much with. At some point in time, we need to start giving back to other people. And so we work hard and do the things we do to enjoy life, but we also work hard and do the things we do to give a little to folks that are in need, folks that need the help. And so this is one way that you can actually help and give back. Another thing that you could potentially do with that $1,000 is start your own business. If there's a business that you want to go into, you've always wanted to go into it, and it's not going to cost a lot, or this could be kind of like seed money to get started, you can use that $1,000 for that. So these are very good uses for the $1,000. And like I said, you all, a great exercise is to sit down, put it on a sheet of paper, $1,000, how am I going to spend it? Put on a sheet of paper, $10,000, how would I spend it? That way you get to know what your bills are, your desires are. $50,000, how am I going to spend it? $100,000, how am I going to spend it? You get to know all these things about yourself, and you won't make the mistakes that if this happens to come, and it's not so far-fetched, it may happen to you one day. But if you do not have a plan, you won't know how to handle it when it does come. So take all this information, sit down and ask yourself, what would I do with the extra $1,000 if it just fell into my lap today? Who knows? But go back through the video, take down some notes, and see what you would do to help yourself along the way. You could be at the beginning of your journey, or you could be well into your journey. So you have a couple of choices there. All right. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.